Cowboy fans and YouTubers? It's that VA Dallas Cowboy fan coming back at you. Woo! A little more energy today because there's sunshine. And after darn near a flood last night of rain, it is a nice balmy 62 degrees here. It's great. I wish this weather could be every day. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be one of those things where it feels great today, and then as soon as nighttime hits, snap right back to the cold. But y'all not here for that, to hear a weather report. You guys are here to hear me talk about what I want to say today. And today, I want to talk about the NFL basically officially confirming the same Hall of Fame game that was canceled last year between Pittsburgh and Dallas. It was supposed to go off last year with the induction of Cliff Harris and Jimmy Johnson going in. And, that's how the Cowboys got their way in. And it was supposed to be the 100th Hall of Fame or 100th ceremony for 100 years for the NFL. Unfortunately, the pandemic happened and they had to cancel all that. This year, the NFL is, I'm fairly certain, determined to get this game off to try and get a little bit of normalcy back. Try to have maybe some small contingent of fans in the stands, some people there to actually be inducted into the Hall of Fame, not virtually, but we'll have to see what the protocols are going to be this year and everything like that. But how about that, Cowboy fans? We know pretty much how we're going to start our season. Well, our preseason. That'll be our 5th game if we do manage to have all preseason games included. We'll be some of the first to start training camp and everything like we were supposed to last year. So that gives us a leg up with our defensive scheming and everything. Get those guys right. And hopefully get our first glimpses of what can be a at least playoff caliber team if everything breaks right. We're hoping to see our first glimpses of maybe what kind of competition we'll be seeing this year. It's just a lot just to see us back on the field at that time. And, it got me thinking last night when I saw that they pretty much confirmed it, of how many Cowboys are basically in the Hall of Fame. And it's a prestigious thing to get in, granted. And when you look at the inductees, the Cowboys can almost hold their own wing inside of the Hall of Fame in Canton. The Cowboys have quite a few guys in there from all levels of the organization, from ownership, front office, to player personnel, to, like head coaches, and down to the players. It's almost, and when you think about it, it's almost like their own, celebrity wing, because the Cowboys do become slight celebrities after they've been inducted. And, it brings up that I think next year, DeMarcus Ware and Tony Romo are going to be eligible to go into the Hall. Now, people can argue that due to the lack of playoff success, Tony Romo is not going to make it in first ballot, and that's pretty obvious. Maybe he'll make it in someday, but it won't be anytime soon. But next year will be his first year of eligibility, and we'll see what the voters think about that, if he makes it out of that prelim. Now, DeMarcus Ware, on the other hand, he should be a first ballot Hall of Famer. The fact that he basically owns the sack record for the Cowboys, I think he's 5th all time in the sacks, something like that, 5th or 4th all time. And he does have the championship ring with the Denver Broncos. Unfortunately, he had to lead the Cowboys to get it. It wasn't his fault. the Jerry Joneses and Stephen Joneses of the world thought that due to his injury history, he was never going to be back to the elite form that he had been for us, and they let him go. Of course, just like many of people that have left the Cowboys, they go on to success elsewhere and make the Cowboys front office look even more boneheaded for letting them go. But those two are coming up for eligibility next year to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. After that, I was thinking, well, how exclusive is the Cowboys Ring of Honor? Now that is very prestigious. Since 1975, I think. Yeah, I think November 1975, Tex Schramm basically inducted the first people into the Ring of Honor. Of course, it was Mr. Cowboy himself, Bob Lilly. And from there, it's been basically the president or owner who have inducted people into the Ring of Honor. There are now, let's see, 19 players, 2 executives, and 1 head coach in the Ring of Honor. Now, I thought that's not bad. That's not bad at all. That's a prestigious thing for us. And then I said, well, looking back at all the Cowboys' history, there's a name that basically built the Cowboys that's not in the Hall of Fame yet. And I was kind of wondering what happened. Apparently his name doesn't make it to the finalists and stuff. You don't really hear about his name for contributions or anything. And it's a shame. And it makes you wonder why. But you kind of see, because the person I'm talking about is Clint Murchison Jr., the original owner and president of the Dallas Cowboys. Now, you don't really think about him. You think more Tex Schramm, Tom Landry, because Clint decided to let the day-to-day operations and stuff be ran by Tex, Tom, and Gil Brandt. Now, you hear those names, and yes, they're now in the Hall of Fame together. But you don't hear about the guy who started it all. You don't hear about how he innovated stadiums by opening Texas Stadium. That was state-of-the-art at the time. That was on him. He was a architectural engineer or something, and he came up with the design for Texas Stadium. And the hole in the roof was actually a design that was supposed to become a retractable dome, but it never happened, so they just left a hole in the roof. And eventually the comment was made that the hole in the roof was so that God could see his team play. And, you know, that carried on and, you know, steamrolled, and people like to talk smack about it now. But Clint Murchison Jr. doesn't get enough credit and love as he should in the history of the Dallas Cowboys, because he was a laid-back owner who knew to just give the day-to-day operations to the 3 best guys that could handle it, and he knew they could handle it. He never had to second-guess anything they did. And unfortunately, he's still not getting his just due in the Hall of Fame. And that's a shame. Someday, hopefully, Hall of Fame voters, y'all, you know, try to correct that feat. But seeing as how you messed around and took forever to get Drew Pearson in, I don't have faith in the Hall of Fame for getting Clint Murchison in anytime soon. But as a quiet man, he's not the bombastic, always in your face, need to tell the world everything all the time like Jerry Jones. So you don't really think about him. And most people really don't think about H.R. Bum Bright. He is the guy who bought the Dallas Cowboys from Murchison for $85 million at the time. And he owned it only for 5 years, up to when he sold it to Jerry Jones at $180 million plus, and now it's worth like billions, basically. But yeah, some of the original owners of the Dallas Cowboys have not received any kind of recognition. Bum Bright, admittedly, he doesn't deserve much credit, because those 5 years from 84 to 89 was basic mediocrity. That was the years where Tom Landry and his teams just couldn't hack it anymore. They couldn't make the playoffs, and they had no success, and that started leading up to the firing of Tom Landry and the selling of the team to Jerry Jones, and of course y'all know the history from there. But I just wanted to talk about that. The Hall of Fame game is set between the Dallas Cowboys and the Pittsburgh Steelers. We have Drew Pearson, Cliff Harris, and Jimmy Johnson going into the Hall of Fame together. And the slight by the Hall of Fame still to get Clint Murchison Jr. in for his contributions to the NFL at the time in getting an expansion team and the way he went about it, plus the innovation of the stadium and how it brought about stadium costs and land and development and how stadiums have been doing it ever since. But that's all I wanted to talk about today. A little Hall of Fame talk real quick. What do you think? Do you think Clint Murchison should be in the Hall of Fame? Do you think, Jerry should allow more people into the Ring of Honor sooner or later? Do you think Tony Romo and DeMarcus Ware are going into the Hall of Fame eventually? D. Ware probably first ballot, Tony Romo maybe. What do you think? Comment below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys have a good day. Take care. Stay safe. This is VA Dallas Cowboy fan. Out.